remember Lady Astor's portrait downstairs? The clock on the south wall, we refer to that as the Lady Astor clock. She gave it to the House of Delegates before she died. It's hung in this building for a long time. Went across the street, came back. Chairman Callahan, who's now retired, remember the House, the chair of the corporations. I said, Chairman, I said, it's an 18th century clock. It needs to be an 18th century building. So he agreed to send it back and hung in this space before renovation. We sent it down to Williamsburg, and for your money, about $6,500, it was restored. All that artwork below the face was covered in black. We didn't even know it was there. You knew you could see London. It's called a Tower clock. It dates 1750, 1760. If you look at your watch or your cell phone and see what time it is, you'll see it keeps a pretty accurate time to be 220 plus years old.
Is it a wind-up?
Is it wind-up?
It's a 7-day clock. If you look under the hand, you see a little gold piece. That's what you move to wind it. And about 5 after 5 this afternoon, I came down my little step ladder around it. It's a 7-day clock.
Do you wind it every week?
I wind it once a week. And I tried to make sure it had to stop, because if it stopped, I've got to open the door and get the pendulum started. So it'll run 7 to 9 days. And one thing I found in that project is I thought this painting looked great over there. You walk down the hall, oh, there's Jamerson. But you do not hang artwork on the exterior wall because of the changes in temperature. I didn't know that. So that's why he hangs here instead of over there. And the clock is fine on the exterior wall. Let's go to the old house chamber.
Jefferson was a clever dude.
Oh my
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we refer to as the Old House Chamber. It's where the House of Delegates met from 1788 to 1904. When the wings were added, it was decided to turn this room into an agricultural museum. So you had stuffed bear, stuffed deer. During Harry Byrd's senior administration as governor, he approached the General Assembly and said, I would like to return this room to the way the House Chamber looked about the time that Robbie Lee took command of the Army of Virginia, which was prior to Virginia seceding from the Union. So the General Assembly agreed to that, and they also passed a resolution that said that no one would be honored in this room unless they were from the Civil War period back. So first you got the statue, the bronze statue there of Robert Lee. It was on that spot when he took command of the Army of Virginia. We wanted this room as a part of the restoration project to look how it looked at that time. Catlin, he did the painting of Jefferson, also did a painting of this room in the 1829-1830s convention. And we found a room set up like this. Now, the 93 deaths that were in here in that period of time, was keep in mind, West Virginia was still a part of the Commonwealth, and the House probably had about 150 members. But these deaths were made when the room went back to the way you see it now. So we're looking, those are probably circa 1930, they're reproductions of historical deaths and chairs of the 1800s. The carpet you see was taken from photographs of the room, as was all the window treatments in the room. So, and the mill in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania milled this as determined to be a historical capital, and they're licensed in as such. So if you want House of Delegates 4946 in your living room, the hotel moves in town, they buy that foundation to receive proceeds from the sale. If you like the pattern of one in blue, there you go. Around the room, looking at it, you notice we came in Florida streets, they asked me if you want to look at it. Let's look at who's in the room. People involved in working in the states who are in this room, President, Vice President, Confederacy, they have those issues, and then along the Jefferson Davis is my left and left. We've got Jeff Stewart, Matthew Montague-Maury, we've got Joseph Johnston, then of course the Vice President of the Confederacy, and two right there. Look, it's not Teddy Roosevelt, that's Fitz Lee, who was called the South during the War between the States. If you look on the west wall here, that's Cyrus McCormick. Yes, he was born in the Valley of Virginia, and he is known for inventing the... Okay. Over in the corner there, gentleman we know as Sam Houston, and you don't think about Sam Houston when you think about Texas. He was born in Lake County, so he is there. And looking on this north wall, we got Boston Richmond League, the sign of Declaration of Independence, George Mason, Father Bill of Rights, and then over, we got the Speaker's Chair, copy of the Speaker's Chair, this is the corner capital of Williamsburg. The House still owns the Speaker's Chair from the 18th century. It's been on Williamsburg since the 30s, back to time Rockefeller gave all that money. Here, John Marshall, whose house is about 2 blocks away from the castle, walking the right way. John Marshall, Supreme Court 1801, 1835. And in this room, just 201 years ago in a week, he presided over the trial of Aaron Burr. Patrick Henry is going to the right, go to the corner, George Witt, professor of law at the College of the American, also a clerk of the House of Delegates, and Samuel Jackson on the wall, East Wall. And this is the room where the courtroom fell in 1870. That area right there collapsed into this room.
Bruce,
Yes, sir.
Did they have parties then? In other words, was the House divided into a Republican caucus and Democratic caucus?
It was at some point in time, and we didn't start keeping track of party affiliation in the House until the early 20th century. If you go back and look at old manuals, Rob Bell, but we wouldn't have known if you were Republican, Democrat, or what. So.
And the difference between the two balconies?
Was not any difference. In fact, before the wings were added, there were other people, the way you look down, you had to come to the door and go up to the balcony. Before that, there were doors on each end, and you went up, and that balcony there. So that was modified when the wings were added. But this room looks basically the same architecture as it did before the renovation. We just sort of turned it to where it looked. If you came before, the desks were facing each other and broke off, and I wanted the room to have an open field so you can go and look at Richmond League statue and go look at George Willis. So, oh, who is that? When the Queen was here, she walked through the two rooms we were just in. In this room here, we had 4th graders, 8th grade civic students, and 12th grade government students, and they came in. The Queen, the Duke, the Governor and First Lady were here, and the Capitol tour supervisor did a Q&A with the children, so Her Majesty could learn about the history of this room at the Capitol. She spent a little bit more time here than she did the rest of the General Assembly, but it was a good opportunity.
And the mace?
The mace. Every colonial legislature was given a mace by the Crown. Of course, the Virginia House of Delegates is the oldest continuous legislative lawmaking body in the Western Hemisphere. Every state got rid of their mace after the Revolution. Why? Except for South Carolina. They still had their original mace. It was stolen in the 70s. Fortunately, they got it back, and they thought, well, we better make a copy of it. So they now have the original 18th century mace plus a copy. The Virginia House voted to sell its mace in 1792 for $100. And they sold it to a Richmond silversmith. So guess what he did with it? Legislation authorized either house. The Senate had a mace too. They got rid of those also. We were maceless. Early 70s, the Jamestown Foundation, which is now the Jamestown-Yorktown Foundation, approached the House and said, in 1974, Virginia will celebrate its 350th anniversary of becoming a royal colony. Knowing Virginia history, from 1607 to 1624, the charter was given to the king to the Virginia Company. He dissolved the Virginia Company and made Virginia a royal colony. They said, we'd like to give you a mace to recognize this milestone history.